leg 700 miles almost in one shot, one day, and I should have stopped at 8. Hey guys, it's Matt, and 4 wheels might move the body, but 2 wheels move the soul. And this is what I learned from my 2,000 mile trip. I only had 1,000 miles under my belt and decided to drop everything and drive on this 2,000 mile trip for some reason. I'm really glad I did, but I think that you should probably get a little bit more experience first. But if you want to, I'm not opposed to it. But I learned quite a few things, and the biggest thing was pack light. I had this backpack stuffed full of 80 pounds of gear, and every single bump I hit, you could feel, and boy it was rough. So what I ended up doing was, my tools I strapped down to my back seat here, as you can see, and I left my clothes there, and I had my friend ship them back, and I just brought a change of clothes and the essentials, my tennis shoes, my water, and all that. Speaking of water, stay hydrated. I learned you got to take plenty of breaks, stop at least 2 hours, and it's like I can't make any time that way. Well, it's the journey, not the destination. The other thing is, make sure you pre-trip your bike and do all the maintenance. I just changed the oil with synthetic oil. Tires are good. Tire pressure, kept the chain lubricated, chain adjusted, and all that. Make sure brake fluid, rear brake fluid, coolant is all good, and keep checking it throughout the journey. Luckily, I didn't find anything. Before I took the trip, I realized that the chain was way out of slack, so I'm glad I adjusted that, and I'm glad I changed the oil. The oil looked clean when I changed it, but it's just peace of mind because I don't know when the last owner changed it. So that was a big thing I learned too. And the other big thing is, I did the first leg 700 miles almost in one shot, one day, and I should have stopped at 8 hours. It was 8 hours of the most enjoyable, even with my 80-pound pack, riding, and I loved it. And I just wanted more and more and more. I'm listening to my Bluetooth headset in my helmet, and I'm so glad I got that, by the way. It ran out of batteries the last hour or 2 hours, and it was miserable. Not because of that necessarily, but it was dark. Man, I just should have split it up into 2 trips. So you can't drive a bike as long as you could drive a car. And that brings me on to the last thing, is driving at night. It was so dangerous. It was a pain. It was a hassle. Animals were coming out. I couldn't see roadkill as easily. The oncoming cars, their headlights would really, the refraction in your lens really screws you up. Speaking of your lens, you get a whole lot more bugs at night. And at night, when you got a bunch of bugs on your lens, you can't see anything. Try to plan your trip accordingly to not drive at night. And that was a handful of things that I learned from my first trip. Dropped everything. I did a 2,000 mile trip with only 1,000 miles under my belt around town. But I'm glad I did it, and I learned a lot. And hopefully you take one too and enjoy yourself.